Rathmore, Daniel.
Maria.
Dan.
Tell me a little bit about your project, what you've done here today.
Well, what we've done is we were investigating the exothermic nature of worms in varying temperatures of soils. We started off this by doing our preliminary investigation, which was like doing this only on a smaller scale. So what we did is we had 20 kilograms of worms and we put just 20 worms in there. Then we had another 20 kilograms of soil without worms. So we put a thermometer in to see if the temperatures did change between the one with worms and the one without worms. And then we realised while it was small, it still did change. So we decided to, on a bigger scale, and put a kilogram of worms in there. And then the soil did start to heat up more. And then another thing we realised about worms is we only had a kilogram, which contained about 100 or so worms, and now we have close to 1,000. So that's because all worms are hermaphroditic, which means whenever they wrap around each other, they both get pregnant, so they can multiply extremely fast. And that's what my section was about.
It sounds absolutely fascinating. Why did you choose this subject?
Well, we chose this because in school we were doing a garden project, and whenever we were digging up, we found that worms tend to gravitate towards the bottom of the soil. So we wanted to know if they liked the warm or the cold. So it turns out that they like the warm better. And we've recorded our results here, as you can see. And whenever worms are in the soil, it heats up. And whenever they're not in the soil, it just stays the same. So we filled both. We made this in tech, so we did the swarmery, and filled both sides with soil and put worms in one side.
Tell us a little bit about the equipment that you have down here and how that was used in your project.
Yeah, we had to make sure the pH in the wormery was at a neutral level, because if the worms respire too much when they release too much energy through taking in sugars, they can release this harmful acidic thing that could damage themselves or other worms. So we had to put these tablets in to keep the pH at a neutral level. We also did another experiment where we put these metal rods and heated them up by this battery pack for voltage, and we put it through the sides of the wormery to heat up the soil and see if the worms come towards the heat and if they like the heat better. And we controlled both sides of the wormery with this temperature, and if it got too cold we put the metal rods in and heated it up, and if it got too cold we used a fan.
And what about the outcomes of this? Now, what use do you think this project will be as far as industry or putting it into effect?
Well, we were thinking that as we realised this is just a small thing, although there's a lot of worms, as farmers, it would be ideal for farmers, because as farmers would have a lot of compost. If they put worms in there, they could put a temperature probe in it, and then that could be used. They could take the warmth from the worms and then put it into their house, and then that could be used to heat water and heat rooms. So that would be good ecologically rather than you burning gas or coal.